Hey, welcome to the Bullring. I'm Jim Tretow. Our show is presented by these guys. Turn 1 High Performance Steering. 16-year-old Ty Fredrickson joins us. He's racing full-time this year on the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour. Big weekend ahead at Memorial Day weekend for him in his first full season in his Super Late. Brendan Butterbean Queen races a ARCA Menard Series car. He's actually the point leader right now. But guess what? He's racing his Super Late model for the first time. It's coming up on Tuesday, May 27th at Oxford Plains Speedway. More on the show on that developing story. We also have a 10-year-old, twice-over Grand National champion on 2 wheels, AMA flat track racer Jackson Joyner. He's joining us as he's traveling across the country racing the Midwest this weekend. His dad, Junior Joyner, 3-time champion NASCAR Truck Series champion with Matt Crafton as a crew chief. We also have an opportunity to check in with a driver that's already won this year in the ASA Midwest Tour, Casey Johnson. We first begin our program with highlights from the Joe Shear Classic. It was on a Sunday afternoon at Madison International Speedway in Wisconsin. Let's check out the highlights before we talk to the winner, Casey Johnson, here on the Bullring.
We're going to see how they race today with Riley Stenjum and Levon Vandergeest. Penn Sauter coming to the green flag to begin the Joe Shear Classic 200 presented by Toyota.
Jim front row got away a little bit, and Levon Vandergeest said he wanted to get out front and pace this field. He thought Riley Stenjum would put up a good battle, but Vandergeest in the 23 will lead lap number 1.
It was fun watching Mark watch the race.
Whoa, we got a spinner. That's Will Reese off of corner number 2. Reese making his first ASA Midwest Tour start of his career.
Back to green, the Joe Shear Classic. Back to green on lap 58 of 200 at Madison. Another tradition, so if weekly racers wanted to come to a short track, and a spin. Caution number 2 on the day. The Sunoco caution flies for Joe Valento, spinning upside turn 2 here at Madison. Vandergeest chose the outside last time on the restart, and Majeski will lead us back to green on lap 79 of the Joe Shear Classic 200.
Majeski got a great restart down in the bottom. Inches ahead. Majeski will be your new race leader. Levon Vandergeest is going to try and stay in his tire tracks and log some laps and perhaps learn a little bit, but Majeski opens up a 2-car length advantage.
Caution on the racetrack. 2 cars involved. Ty Fredrickson with big impact implications, and the number 7 of Pauly Schaefer. Damage to the rear tail.
Pauly gets underneath the 44, exiting corner number 2. They race side by side up the back straightaway.
Just couldn't get off him into turn 3.
Pauly with a hard hit. And Ty Fredrickson with a hard hit as well.
The 14 of Austin Nason. He's been charging up through the field with Ty Majeski. He's going to put his right sides on as well. And one thing I noticed down here, guys, and you guys can probably touch on this a little bit more up top, but Levon Vandergeest, Michael Bilderback, and Justin Mondyke elected to stay out.
Lap 95 to be counted here in the Joe Shear Classic 200. Levon Vandergeest brings us back to the green flag. Air pressure and one tweak we didn't do to the car, costing the win. Oh my! Majeski's around. Majeski's around at turn 4. Racing for the lead. Ty Majeski spins. Left rear down for sure.
Your heel power off of corner number 4. We are back to green. Closing laps coming your way at Madison.
Johnson gets held up a little bit. I think he might have caught the inside of the turn 1 pavement that slowed him up just ever so briefly and got Summers the advantage he needed to take that lead outright. Close call there for Fenhouse. I thought that might have brought out a Sunoco caution flag. It did not. Bilderback's on the full charge forward underneath Mondyke now.
They're battling it out for the win. That's allowing Bilderback to catch it and make this a 3-car battle for the win. At the line, there'll be 21 to go.
Johnson.
10 to go in this Joe Shear Classic 200. Now, Bilderback all over the back bumper. The 44, there's contact. Look out. Oh, my.
That's Morrissey's number 39. We got a great view from the drone camera. Casey Johnson, Justin Mondyke, Michael Bilderback, and Jacob Gady in pursuit as we go back to green. The Citrus safe lead change in the late going. Johnson moves ahead now of Summers by a full car length, but here comes Summers on the inside.
On the outside, what a power move by Casey Johnson. Johnson leads. Off of corner number 4, will win it.
To victory lane we go with Casey Johnson and public address announcer Eric Enefeld.
No kidding, man. About halfway through that race, I was ready to throw in the towel. Man, we were just struggling. We made some great adjustments there halfway. Threw some tires on. A lot of good guys wrecked. I mean, and here we are. What can you say?
And the big winner now joins us of the Joe Shear Classic 200. We just saw some highlights, Casey. It looked like you waited your time, but man, you had speed in that race to win another Joe Shear Classic trophy, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to wait that long, to be honest with you. I mean, the first 100 there, we just didn't have the car we wanted, and circumstances kind of played out well for us, and we had a pretty good race car there towards the end.
A brand new car that you had some issues with the day before on practice day. What did you guys all have to work through? Because you had some time where you were kind of watching other guys practice for a little bit.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of the new car blues. It's actually kind of my fault. I didn't do the nut and bolt on the brake calipers, and we had a bolt back out. Flipped the caliper on me, wrecked the caliper, the rotor plate, wrecked everything in there. But luckily, Dan Lensing from Performance Parts Supply, he was on call, ran over to the shop, got me all the parts I needed, and got us back rolling.
Yeah, I think I asked for the timing. It was 2:45 p.m. and that minivan rolled in behind the hauler at 4 o'clock. So that was a pretty good speed run to whoever was on the mission to get those parts to you to get some laps in before the end of the day on Saturday. But man, it's got to be so good feeling that you had a race car that could compete, you had a chance to race hard, and you had a chance to pass them with 4 or 5 laps to go in the race to win a pretty prestigious race at Madison.
Yeah, and I mean, it was such stout competition, you know, and that's why we were having a hard time moving forward early. I mean, everybody was just so good, and the tire was so good that we all had a little bit of speed, and we were all just kind of sliding around. So we made some good adjustments and got in the right position. And then, yeah, I mean, Gabe there at the end, I mean, he raced me so clean. He was able to, I mean, a lot of guys, they could have took my line on entry or ran me up into the wall on exit. You know, when you try to go around them on the outside like that, it's pretty easy to take away their line. So he didn't do that, and we had a heck of a battle.
I got a chance to call that race on Track TV for the ASA Midwest Tour. All the races for ASA Midwest Tour are on Track TV. And we had a special guest, not only as a Grand Marshal, but I don't know if you had a chance to catch the replay yet, because I know you're a pretty busy guy, Casey, but Mark Martin joined us for the entire race, and he got to see how good your car was. And we talked about restarts. We talked about, he said, keep an eye on that 5 car. Keep an eye on that 5 car. It's got to be neat knowing that you're at that level again. I know it's been a couple years where you won some championships, you went through a health setback, and now you're right there, man. It's got to be such a comforting feeling knowing that starting the season so strong.
Yeah, I mean, all of it was cool. I mean, like you say, the crowd was huge, probably one of the biggest I've ever seen in Madison. We had Mark Martin in the house, like you say. I haven't got to watch the replay yet, but I will do that now that you say Mark was on there. That's really cool. I mean, everything was cool about it. The whole weekend was awesome. But like you said, you know, I've kind of been set back for a couple of years here, and I haven't had really a marquee win. We won some races last year, but, you know, they were a little bit smaller ones. But, you know, this is a big one here in Wisconsin, and to be able to tackle it and run up front, it proves that our program's pretty much right where we want it to be, and hopefully we can keep moving forward this season.
You've won 3 ASA Midwest Tour championships. Is that on the radar this year with you guys going after a full schedule?
Man, I tell you what, we were kind of taking it one race at a time, but we kicked off our points pretty well right out of the gate with the ASA Midwest Tour. We're going to run Jefferson, see where everything shakes out there, and then I'm going to call my buddy Greg McCarnes and see what we can do.
So if you're not familiar with Wisconsin racetracks, Jefferson Speedway is a nice little 3rd mile that happens to be owned by Casey Johnson. When he's there, he wins a lot. It's got to be neat going back for Memorial Day Saturday night for the Salute the Troops 100. You get to see it here on Track TV. But more importantly, that is your home track. How excited are you knowing that you're going back not as a crew chief or owner, but as a driver?
Oh, I love it. Like, anytime I can go back there, you know, it's always circled on the calendar, highlighted on the list, whatever you want to say. I mean, like you said, it's 15 minutes from our shop. I grew up there. I've ran anything with 4 tires around there, won in anything with 4 tires around there. I just love the place, so I'm really excited to get over there.
Get to go to a couple different tracks as well this year, and I imagine your schedule is going to fill up as you can because you've got your daughter Kenzie's in softball, so that's going to take some of the springtime, right? A lot of balance going on there.
Yeah, she's in softball. My youngest one, Macy, she's travel softball now too, so we got a pair of them, and then 2 young men are running our limited lates for a development program, so I got their races, and then crew chiefing for Jaden Johnson and another limited late. So yeah, our schedule is jam-packed, so it'll be a busy summer.
So when it comes to that, I want to step back to where you were in the healing process, but Barrett Palhimas came and raced out of Texas to race with the ASA Midwest Tour, finished 5th in points, I think it was. You guys had a really strong year. How much did that help you learn that you can help someone else and you are able to commute and compute and make others faster while you're making that decision, not driving, but also making the decisions that are making it sensible and running well?
Well, it was awesome for our program, just for the simple fact that if you take any time off of racing super late models, it's constantly evolving. So you just get behind and more behind. So at least with Barrett out there, I'm teaching him as we can go, but I'm also trying things on my cars that I would try if I was racing as well. So, I mean, it kept us in the loop. And, like as soon as I was able to get back into a car, our stuff was still running top notch. So it helped a ton.
And I also know firsthand how Mark Martin talked about racing in the Upper Midwest helped him a ton as a young development racer. Grant Thompson, another one I would call in that category, accomplished in the Southeast. He came to play with you guys for the Tundra Super Late Model Series a couple years ago. How much did it help him help you, knowing that he had no experience racing in Wisconsin, no experience really racing a full-size stock car?
Well, that was crazy. So obviously I just talked to Grant over the phone and his father. And so when he first shows up, he's 14 years old and I think he was 4'11". I mean, just a tiny little guy. It's like, oh my God, he's going to come race with the big boys. But first race out of the chute, he runs second to me at WIR. Never seen the place or anything, and runs second at WIR, which was something to be said. He's a heck of a wheel man. He did a great job, and he's came a long way for sure.
So you got to race against them sometimes. Take us a little bit more in depth in who you're helping and where they're racing this year with the drivers you have under your wing.
Well, my longest client here would be Grant Griesbach. I take care of his cars for WIR and Slinger in the super late model division. And then this year, Jaden Johnson, I'm taking him to all the Big 8 races, and we're going to run Slinger full-time on Sundays when the limited lates are there. And then I have the Tovo brothers. They're two twin brothers from Chicago area, and they're going to be testing our limited lates here in the next couple weeks. So we're going to build their schedule as it goes, but we're going to get them their first laps in the limited late model and see how it goes.
How big's your race shop? Because it sounds like you had a lot of race cars to worry about, including a couple of your own.
So my joint car owner, he's supposed to be building me a new race shop because we're out of room. so it's in the works.
When it comes to Reed chassis, you've been at the forefront of that. Maybe people around the country don't realize. And Casey, it's got to be comforting knowing that you've had a direct hand in developing the chassis you get to race. Reed chassis are getting known around the Upper Midwest, but get some national attention, especially after you win big races like the Joe Shear Classic. How important is that for you, and how comforting is that knowing you've got a hand in a chassis development, literally, with a chassis company?
Oh, I think it's really cool. It's one of the most important parts of our program. Dave Reed and Andy Haver, they're just out of Heartland there. It's a real small company. They only build probably a handful of cars a year. And I've been with them for about 6 years now. When I started driving for Travis Dassow, he had one of them. So I was able to get in there, and I really liked it. And, if you got any little ideas, Dave, he'd, build us spindles or move pickup points or anything we want. We have it, right at our hands. So it's huge to our program.
And when it comes to racing, you guys get to race still. Travis Dassow is overlooking Joe Valento's equipment racing in the ASA Midwest Tour. I imagine on occasion you guys get a chance to still compare notes. As at one time he was your crew chief, and at other times you guys are racing against each other with different teams, but it seems like you guys have a pretty strong relationship.
Oh, yeah, I think we talk every day. I mean, pretty much every one of them races we're pitted next to each other. Yeah, to say the least, we exchange notes. We compare everything, it seems like.
And Travis Dassow just bought a racetrack too, Slinger Super Speedway. Has he talked you into buying your own racetrack?
No, I haven't hit that midlife crisis yet. So, but no, he has talked to me once or twice about getting up there and running. No, he's doing some great things up there. I know people in the Midwest are super excited with what he's doing. I'm excited with what he's doing. I mean, just some of the upgrades he's made. I've been up there testing with a couple guys. I mean, he's doing a great job. That place is setting sail for success, I think.
Casey Johnson, we'll see you here on the ASA Midwest Tour on Track TV. Where else will we maybe see you in person at a racetrack not racing with the Midwest Tour if given the chance?
This weekend, we're actually going to go to WIR up in Kaukauna there. There's a 6,000 to win Tundra race. We're going to see if we can't bring trophy home in that one.
You've done it before, if I remember right?
A few times.
Yeah, I thought so. One of the winningest Midwestern drivers, honestly, for a period of 8 or 9 years. If it was not Ty Majeski winning, it was Casey Johnson winning. And I'm telling you, you're right where you need to be. You're right in that wheelhouse once again. It's great having you here on the Bullring for a few minutes. Casey Johnson, thanks for your time tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And here's a look at the upcoming ASA Midwest Tour schedule. Their next race is on Memorial Day weekend on Saturday night. the Salute the Troops 100 at Jefferson Speedway in Wisconsin. You can catch it all here on Track TV. Special thanks to Tretow High Performance Power Steering Products for presenting the Bullring. With over 40 years of racing knowledge in NASCAR for your Corvette, street car, or super late model, check out their superior steering products with the best components and the best industry upgrades, all with a proven track record and attention to detail. Visit turn1steering.com.
We're the leader in race fuels. We've been doing this since in the 60s.
We use our distillation tower, which is unique. No other race fuel companies do that in the world. We also test every single batch that goes out the door on over 15 different parameters that ensure the tune-up will be identical.
That consistency in the marketplace that makes us a premium brand.
Make the same stuff every time. We're pretty darn close to perfect.
It's the season opener at Spencer Speedway, and it's a big one. Friday, May 23rd, the Race of Champions Modified Series returns to the half mile for the running of the 34th annual tribute to Tommy Drewer and Tony Jankowiak. 110 laps of ground-pounding excitement at Spencer Speedway in Williamson, New York. Come see the Race of Champions Modified, Superstocks, 602 Sportsman, Fast and Furious Wilbur Chew Pullet 4-cylinders, and the Wilbur Chew Pullet Super 6s, where every lap counts. Brought to you by the Race of Champions, Wilbur Chew Pullet, and Billy Whitaker Ford. Friday night, May 23rd, Spencer Speedway, racing at 7:15. You can't miss it.
Welcome back to the Bullring, presented by Turn 1 High Performance Steering. I'm Jim Tretow, joined by the current point leader in the ARCA Menard Series, Brendan Butterbean Queen. I think it sounds pretty good after winning the first two of the first four races, sitting here leading the points in your first effort racing full-time in the ARCA Menard Series. Looks pretty good from the outside. How's it feel on the inside, knowing how good your team's been?
It's been awesome. You know, obviously wish Talladega would have been the one that isn't our mulligan right now, and maybe had a bigger lead that we could, you know, just have in the bank. But always good to be back on top and not behind. So excited going into Charlotte.
So 1 year ago, you were knowing full well you were racing for a Cars Late Model Stock Tour Championship. You got that with Lee Pulliam's team. Now at Pinnacle Racing Group, man, you guys are riding a wave. That confidence has to come off of the championship of a year ago, knowing that these big tracks are a lot different than what you've been racing primarily the last several years.
Yeah, I think, you know, mainly just everything is so different than what I've ever known. I've been late model racing since 2013, and making this next step was a dream of mine, and being able to go out and perform is another childhood dream of mine. You know, we all dream of doing it, but actually going out and winning, and just knowing, like, in my no matter what happens the rest of my career, like knowing I've won Daytona and a mile and a half now, like they can't take it away. And definitely momentum off of winning the Cars Tour, but a lot of new things, working with a new team, new car, new series. So glad we have gotten, you know, up to speed really quick.
And I want to say, when you won Daytona, it validated for me what you've been working really hard at. You're representing the short track race. You're representing the weekly race. You're representing the guys that finally get a chance. It's only been, 2 years since you were working nonstop, it seemed like, in the rail yards of Virginia to get this chance. So I would imagine the satisfaction there. But, man, how tough has it been to get to this point, to now race on a national stage?
Well, you know, just like you said, leaving my job was tough, and it's a gamble. And I felt like I put all the chips in, and you know, it's so satisfying to see where I am now versus 2 years ago. And you know, like as I'm pulling into victory lane or taking the checkered flag on the cool down lap, you know, I have those thoughts in my head of like, man, everything I did wasn't for nothing. Like it's all going how I dreamed, and you can never predict how it's going to happen, but you just sit back and think of how fortunate and how blessed you are, and sometimes you got to take a risk and a gamble, and that's what I did.
It's paying off so far. I can guarantee you that it's really cool to see this progression. I get to see it firsthand because I get to do the majority, get to work actually with NASCAR Productions at the majority of the ARCA Menard Series races. So to see what Pinnacle Racing Group did last year with several drivers, Connor Mosak, Connor Zilich, doing great things, having the chance to see you race every race with those guys and Shane Hupp and what they put together, it's an amazing deal that I mean, now let's just talk about the guy that they paired you with on the big tracks, Derek Nealon, your spotter, who does work on Sundays with Kyle Busch and had been with Kyle Larson. I mean, it's got to be so neat to know that what you put forth is paying off already.
Yeah, Derek does such a good job. Obviously, Shane and everybody at Pinnacle have put together a powerhouse, and that's part of the reason I had interest in going there. And for me, it was really more of pressure because I know how good that 28 car's been, and now there's still a lot of races left and a lot of things that happen, but at least I know I'm not going to go winless, and I feel like I can back up what they've been doing, and it definitely is a confidence booster for me. But like I said, I knew the cars were going to be good, and the pressure was on me. And as a race car driver, we love the pressure, and that's what we live for. So if I can have the pressure and know that the car is good enough, and I got to just do my job, that's how I'd want it.
Yeah, and it's really neat to see you perform and excel because there's a lot of good competition, a lot of great competition in the ARCA Menard Series. Joe Gibbs Racing's team, for example, comes to mind as one of the chief rivals you have to race with. But when it comes to a chance to go play, I'm looking forward to see what you get to do after you race Charlotte Motor Speedway for the first time in the ARCA Menard Series. Somehow, some way, you got talked into racing at Oxford Plains Speedway in the Memorial Day Clash 200 on the Tuesday after Memorial Day in a super late. Tell us how that all came together.
Yeah, I think I got to thank Derek Nealon on that one. He doesn't take no for an answer. So he called me, and it was his deal, and his coroner Mike and all those guys up there. I'm kind of lost going into it because I don't know anything about it besides I know Oxford and I know pro lates and super lates, but I've never been to any of that or drove anything like that. So but I'm a racer, and it doesn't matter if it's a shopping cart with a motor on it. I'm ready. So, Derek, I guess I owe him for all the good job he's done with me. I owe him to come do this event he's helped promote. I believe it's the Oxford 250 or something, Memorial Day Clash, and I think him, Kyle Busch, and I are going to fly up and be in that. And for me, it's just more seat time and honestly a lot less stress. Like, I know it's not easy. It's not going to be easy going up there and racing against these guys, but for me, it's a chance to really just go have fun and enjoy a race that I might not ever get to do again, and I might not have ever got to do it without Derek. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun, and hopefully we can keep building B Nation up in Maine.
And the neat thing about it is, you mentioned Kyle Busch is going with you. Daniel Hemrick's racing in it. Derek Nealon, your spotter, is actually racing as well in this race. It's a non-points race. You'll see it live on Racing America. Racing starts at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night, May 27th. But in that race itself, it's a 200-lap super late model race, non-points. I think that's going to be a big difference maker for Mike Rowe and the guys. I think Mike just won his 158th race at Oxford. So you're racing against some guys that have a lot of experience there. But, man, what a better way to go play, right? Non-points on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, for me, I guess regardless, it would have been non-points, right? So it was going to be fun, but I think that just amps it up for everybody now that they don't have to worry about a points night. But I'm a late model stock guy, so this is a different world, but I think it's still going to be the same concept, and everything's going to apply that I've learned throughout my career. And I'm looking forward to the challenge. I love a challenge, and with a little luck, you never know. Maybe we go up there and steal one from those guys. But I know it's going to be a lot harder, lot harder than it sounds. But at the same time, I'm gonna have fun and really no pressure. Just try to pick off as many as I can and learn and have a good night.
Racers are racers. I know Kyle Busch and Daniel Hemrick both got a chance to race there last July at Oxford Plains. It's a nice, flat, sweeping racetrack. Have you raced there before? And do you think it has anything to do that looks like Langley, where you've owned the Hampton Heat for a couple of years?
So that's what they keep telling me. You run good at Langley, so you'll be fine. I've only ran Oxford on iRacing, but if it's anything like Langley in real life, I'm extra excited, only because, Langley's my home track, and that's where I grinded it out for years. So don't get to race at Langley like I would like to, just because of, I'm doing what I want to do, but it's hard not racing at home because that's what built you. But there'll be a day where I get to go back and never know, might see me at the Hampton Heat. You never know.
I'm hoping somebody gets something together for you, because you've won that race how many times, and it's such a big deal. And now that you've got this national notoriety, not that you need any support more than you already have with Bean Nation, but man, it'd be really cool to have more opportunities like this. Are you open to doing more short track racing, given the chance?
I'd love to. Unfortunately, I don't have the extra funding to put the deals together. But I am available if any opportunities are out there. The Hampton Heat obviously is a big one, but I do think that's a race I want to run just because I've won it 3 times, and if I win it one more, that'll be all-time wins. And right now we're on a 2-in-a-row streak, so if you win it 3 in a row, no one's ever done that. So I have a chance to do 2 things in the same year. Once again, not easy. Like, that race never gets easier. I think my 3rd one was harder than the 2nd one. The 2nd one was harder than the 1st one. So I don't take it for granted, but I'm very blessed to have 3 of them if I don't win another one.
And we got to give you credit for developing a following that's unrivaled, really, at this level with Bean Nation. Man, it's got to be a lot of fun. I see you and your girlfriend are always doing something fun, interactive with the fans, or getting social posts out there. It's got to take a lot of work, but man, are you enjoying the fact that Bean Nation's growing as we speak here?
I love it. I feel bad because I'm the type of person that tries to take time for everybody, and used to be a lot easier because there wasn't that many, but I promise I see the comments, I see the messages. It's just really hard to get back to everybody individually, or else I don't think I would ever go to sleep, and I'd be on my phone 24/7. But man, it's so humbling, and I'm thankful for it, because like even at Kansas, like there was way more fans cheering for me than I thought, and we're halfway across the country, where I'm just a Virginia guy that was racing Langley Speedway not too long ago, and thought that's what it was going to be. So really cool to see it growing, and I hope it keeps growing.
It will. The way you're running right now, it's going to be a lot of fun to follow. Point leader in the ARCA Menard Series. That's a full schedule. Charlotte Motor Speedway is the next one. And Tuesday night, fans can come out and see you. Oxford Plains Speedway on May 27th. The action starts at 5 o'clock. A couple of other divisions as well. See him race against Kyle Busch, his spotter. That's bragging rights right there. Daniel Hemrick, and a great cast of racers in a Pro All-Star Series Super Late Model non-points race. You'll see it live here on Racing America as well. Butterbean, thanks for your time. Appreciate you joining us here on the Bullring tonight.
Thank you for having me, Jim.
We'll be right back with more of the Bullring, presented by Turn 1 Performance Steering.
Nortec Equipment are committed to helping you empower your landscape projects with our line of soil processors for tractors, skid steers, and mini skids. Based out of Wausau, Wisconsin, Nortec Equipment products are proudly made in the USA. Our products deliver expertly engineered equipment at competitive prices that are tailored to meet the diverse needs of the turf, landscape, construction, and agricultural industry. Give us a call today at 715-393-4458. Nortec Equipment are proud sponsors of Fredrickson Racing.
Calling all race fans. We have launched a new travel site where the race fans can enjoy free savings and upgrades on all of their travel needs. RacerTravel.com is free to join and unlocks unpublished bookings and rates for our racing community. Up to 50% off on more than 1 million rooms across the U.S. and Canada with unpublished discounts on hotel bookings. Unlock a hidden selection of hotels and rates that cater to your travel preferences. Whether you're heading out to the track as a competitor, fan, or anything in between, use Racer Travel for all your race, business, and vacation travel needs.
Better than a bootlegger. Way better than a bootlegger. Pretty good. Very blueberry. Highly recommend this to anybody out there. It's pretty good. 10 out of 10 right there.
I think it's delicious. I had the peach, I had the grape at Five Flags. Trying the pina colada right now. Feels like I'm on the beach somewhere.
They said I wouldn't make it without a college degree.
They said only a man could be a roofing executive.
They said a former addict always relapses.
They said my amputation would keep me out of roofing.
They said never give an ex-convict a second chance.
They said I could never be a leader.
They said I couldn't support my family as a single mom.
At Rackley, we say they're wrong.
Want to change the world? Change it, one roof at a time.
Why not give your grill the deep clean it deserves? The CitraSafe Grill Cleaner Complete Bucket Kit has everything you need to get your grill spotless, inside and out. Powered by natural citrus, CitraSafe cuts through the toughest grease and grime safely and easily. No harsh chemicals, no hassle. Recipes taste better on a clean grill.
It's time to go around the horn on the Bullring with some racing highlights and recognizing some racing winners from across the country. We start with highlights from the North-South Challenge at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
We're set for green. Cole Butcher on the pole outside. Billy Van Meter, 100 laps for the North-South Super Late Model Challenge from Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. The same piece of real estate. Michelle pulls back alongside, and we've got trouble. Casey Klein off the pace. Might have been some contact. Car looks to be okay. 3 wide as they go around him. There's more contact. Pinsino will spin. Nassi will avoid. Davis gets around. So does Avedizian. But we will have yellow for the second time in the race as we stacked them up going into turn number 1. And now a little unburned fuel in the exhaust of the 14. Cole Butcher from Canada. He's looking for yet another win. This one with the Southern Super Series where he leads the standings also. Point leader with the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour, and just like the last restart, Butcher out front. Craig moves into second. Contact from Bochelle. Still more contact heading to 3.
Man, really wanted that inside lane. Swiped the ball and made contact. Kyle Steckley now joins in on the outside of Bochelle. Craig holds on to second, and Steckley is still toe-to-toe trying to hold on for that 3rd spot. The driver just ahead of him in the points run is that of Cole Butcher, who previously already has 2 wins on the season, and trouble for Stephen Nassi. Slow to the apron at turns 1 and 2 as the drivers just behind him come swooping on by. We'll see if he can continue rolling. But for Pollard, can you gain any spots to close on in? You may have that shot because with sticks on the board, we have a caution.
Can Craig stay alongside? Can he time up the restart well? He did pretty well right there. We're going to have a battle for the top spot. Heading through 1 and 2. Butcher the advantage into 1.
Oh, he wants to clear, but Matt Craig is going to be there on the inside. Holds on to the quarter panel. They make contact off turn 2. Craig just won't give in back to 3.
Ullman got in the wall a little bit back in the field. It's going to be Butcher the advantage coming to the white flag. A 1 to go.
In 2025, Cole Butcher will go to victory lane and become the first Canadian to win it. Butcher wins in Nashville. He gets the North-South Super Late Model Challenge win.
Boston, Oliver, Stacy, Crane, and Albert Francis, the starting field in today's event as we are underway. From Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, contact between the top 2 already.
And already from what we saw from the Super Race to the Pro, lane 2, that choice works out well, and Hunter Wright is able to just take the race lead. Here comes Chase Johnson on the bottom to turn 3, takes it right back off turn 4.
Those two drivers right there racing side by side have been the top two in the last couple of pro late model races. Dating back to the All-American weekend was very fast as the yellow waves and the field slows on the racetrack. Looking around to see if we see anything. And this would be our lap 50 yellow flag as we have gone green to the halfway mark today. This is a 50 lap. Chase Johnson to keep him from winning his third pro late model race in a row. Wright beats him back to the line and they race into turn one, right up the track a little bit. Johnson gives up the lead for the first time in this race. His car extremely fast though. How long can Hunter Wright hold off Chase Johnson?
He was hand over fist coming off turn two. Saw a couple tire marks on the asphalt. Here comes Doozer to the outside of Aiden Potter. He's running, he's loving, and he wants to see that checkered flag.
He's a two-time World Series champion at New Smyrna during the month of February. Today, he's the winner at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway in the pro late models. Hunter Wright claims victory. Chase Johnson brings home a close second. Corey Deucer, Aiden Potter, Trey Craig, the top five.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen for the roar out of turn four. It's the Race of Champions Modified Series. Hitting the Sunoco Rayfuels Go Fast point, we are green flag racing. And Ely's going to take third, and now he's going to go after Verwise for second. He sticks the 81 down underneath the 88, going into turn three. Ely now clear for second with 31 in the books. And DLJ's lead almost a second and a half now. Lewis hoping this thing stays green and continue to run away and hide. Headed back to the Sunoco Rayfuels Go Fast point. The Blueprint Engines green flag is back in the air. They're three wide at the green flag. Potrabowski, Ripkema, and Harmon were three wide under the green flag. Here comes Ely. Ely looking to clear Lewis. He's got him. Sheer slams on the binders. Look out in 3 and 4. Ely leads. Lewis, Hirschman, Bailey, Beers, now your top five on that restart. The dogfight is at the front of the field, though. Ely and Hirschman going to go back and forth, almost making contact down the front straightaway. As no love lost, maybe, after the contact at Mahoning a couple weeks ago. 30 to go. Here's Ely to the inside of Hirschman one more time. Jack trying to get it done, but Hirschman oh so good. Ely trying to keep the inside. Hirschman trying to stay off the right front of Ely. Toe-to-toe for the top spot. Ely will not give up the inside. Hirschman has to stay to the outside. But now Hirschman will clear Ely this time down the front straightaway. He's going to make a run out of 4, drops it low, almost even with Hirschman down the front stretch. Ely was faster that time by a 10th. Ely now just almost dropping that left front off the edge of the pavement in turn 2. Ely with a power move into 3. He's got the nose out in front, trying to pull the slider on Hirschman. Jack Ely's back in the lead with 55 complete, 20 to go. Rolling through 3 and 4 for the final time. Mustache Jack, Jack Ely, he's going to take the Mayflower 75 at Chong for the Race of Champions Modified Series.
Welcome back to the Bullring. It's our pleasure to have on a 3-time NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion crew chief, Junior Joyner, who's in a whole different world right now. He's racing with his son across the country. Junior, thanks for coming on. Jackson, thanks for joining us here on the Bullring.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us, guys.
When it comes to racing, Junior, you are well accomplished when it comes to 4 wheels. How in the world did you get your 10-year-old son on 2 wheels and do as much as you're doing right now?
Oh man, it's been a process. We started off, outlaw karts. We had go-karts when he was 3 years old, but we also had a motorcycle because we had some land. He was born, right by the race shop there in Sandusky, Ohio, and I've always loved motorcycles. I had a passion since I was a young kid. My uncle used to race flat track motorcycles. He was a national number back in the day, so I kind of grew up around it. I had a small passion for it, and I just enjoy the racing. I feel like it's probably the best in in the world right now for 8 minutes of entertainment. You can't really go wrong, you know. So it just kind of, the place where we moved to, Bakersfield, California, just it just breeds it, man. There's just all kinds of bad to the bone motocross guys there, speedway guys. It's kind of the, back when I was, you know, racing cars, it was kind of the West Coast hub per se, back in the day. So we ended up moving back there. His mom's from there, and now that's where we live, and we're having the time of our life, me and him. We're in pretty deep.
You were plucked from the West Coast to race with Matt Crafton, a fellow Californian who has now won 3 NASCAR championships with you as the crew chief. The last one came in 2019. What made that Thor Sport hub of Sandusky so attractive to get to, and then say, you know what, I've got my time, guys. Let's go and have some fun with the kids and go back to where Mason Marin and everybody else raced for years and years back on the West Coast?
Man, you know, for the longest time, I was the suspension guy there. I spotted Matt and I, you know, we're best men in each other's weddings. We've been best friends for a long time. And, you know, after 10 years of being the suspension guy and just doing it all the time, it was just, I've been offered the job a couple times. And finally I was like, you know what, I'm going to regret it if I don't at least attempt it. So I actually asked my wife to marry me. We got married and we moved to Ohio. Both my sons were born right there in Sandusky. And, you know, it turned into such a good spot because of Duke and Rhonda Thorson, the effort they put in, the heart, and making Sandusky their spot. They don't want to move to Charlotte and be in the swamp, you know, where everyone's at. They want to do their thing. And it became very popular when we started winning, and we breed a lot of guys that race on Sunday, man. We've got some really good engineers out there that have been at Thor Sports, some tire guys, a lot of fab guys. You know, it's been the breeding grounds for some bad dudes. and Duke and Rhonda should be proud of that, and I should be proud of it too. Jared Prince and Bud Hafley and all the guys that helped build that thing. You know, it's really cool, and we're actually on our way there right now to go race a flat track motorcycle race. It's a national event, 2 hours from the race shop, so we're hoping some of the guys can come and check out our new craft.
Oh, wow. How cool is that? You get to hang with your buddies while they watch you work on your son's bike. And Jackson, this has to be exciting for you, knowing that you may be a little bit too young to remember everything about living in Sandusky, but now that you're way deep into the AMA flat track motorcycle world, it's going to be kind of cool to chase some points in Ohio, near where your dad spent a lot of time. How excited are you for heading back to the Midwest for a change to go racing?
Well, I'm really excited for that. We get to run a lot of these races back here. We don't get to come back here too often, but we're trying to now a lot more and run all these races and try to chase some points.
Speaking of points, 2023, you won the 50cc Grand Championship. How does that happen at age, 8 or 7, wherever you were then? How many races did you have to race to win that championship?
There's 4 races, 3 different tracks, 4 races. There's a half mile, TT, it's kind of like a road course on dirt. And there's a short track, it's real small, indoors.
And I see through your progression, in 2023 you ran a 50cc bike. You also happened to repeat as a champion in the 65cc bike last year in the Mission Foods AMA Flat Track Championship as another grand champion to win. How difficult was that, making that transition and racing against more accomplished racers like yourself and winning the championship again?
Yeah, second year we went back there, it was a lot more competition, and it was a lot harder to win, but got it done. So.
And Junior, some of our viewers are going to say, you know, I know what a pro late model is versus a super late model. When you're making these steps in progression of CCs, including in the same year this year, which we'll get to, from a 50cc bike to a 65cc bike and bigger, faster kids, how big of a deal is that for you to get that bike tuned, knowing that there's only a handful of races to get it done?
Man, I'm like a fish out of water over here at first. You know, there's so many things and knowledge that I've built up over the years at a certain discipline. And this discipline's just different. You know, dirt is something that I've never really been, you know, a part of. So that's a discipline of its own to learn. And, you know, the bikes, you know, the 50cc is a centrifugal clutch. And Cobra, a U.S. manufacturer, does that. And it's probably one of the least fun bikes in the world to ride because it's so erratic. And it's a great bike, great company, great people. But, you know, as he progressed, the 65, the bigger the bike, and guys kind of told us that it's almost easier. You know, you get a little more footprint on the ground, a little more wheelbase. As long as you learn the clutch, and then now you have 6 gears, you know, to go through versus just you're in the same gear all the time. We're getting there. You know, we're kind of learning it together, and I teach them the things that I've learned in my craft, and you know, from the aero side and 7 post shake rigs, and just being in the game for so long with manufacturers and learning, you know, the correct way, in my opinion, to do things. just learning the craft at a young age, and then we can do with it as we will. If we don't want to get burned out, we want to have fun, and that's what we're doing. Mom's on board, grandma's on board. It's getting a little bit carried away once we won the second one. Now we're going to go and try to run 2 different classes. It's 5 classes, 2 different bikes. So at the Grand Championships this year. So this weekend we'll run 3 classes.
Wow.
And Corey Texter, who's an ex-pro, flat track pro, has put on this amateur event, and he's just a lover of the sport. He's got huge passion for flat track, and he's given these guys a stage to race on. Fans' Choice is actually putting it on so you can get online and watch it. And it's neat for these guys to go back, watch their own races, hear their own names, Flat track's not that big as, NASCAR, even though NASCAR owns the AFT. Hopefully they're pushing it, because we're all in, we're having fun, and we'd love to see it progress as we do, and get back to where it used to be.
And Jackson, I know that you've got a lot to accomplish, but also you may be sharing the racetrack at given times with the pro riders you look up to, like Dallas Daniels, those kind of guys. Have you had a chance to ask them questions or watch their start and their launch and learn some things while you're doing these national events?
Yeah. We've gone to the last 2 AFT Pro races and got to watch all the big guys race and stuff.
All right, how many of those big guys say, "Hey, Jackson, nice run last week"? They must be paying attention, right?
Yeah.
That's got to be really cool for you.
They do a very good job with the kids, man. All the pros are just standouts. There's a couple kids from the West Coast that are just so great, and we train together, and that's awesome. That's how it should be. We're at a tough age bracket to where we train with 14 and 16-year-olds instead of 10, so the progression is very steep.
Is that a good thing, Jackson, knowing that you got kids maybe twice your size or, have 2 more years experience than you do, trying to play catch up, or are you right there with them?
We're kind of right there with them. I like running with the bigger bikes, but when we go back east, there's a lot more competition back there.
And when it comes to the starting line, I know it's standing starts. When it comes to that, well, how have you progressed and perfected your craft, I want to say, because now that you have different CCs, you have different classes, you're running multiple classes on the same weekend. How important is the start of these races to run flat track at a national level?
If you don't get a good start, you're kind of stuck towards the back unless you start getting unless it's a bigger track. The smaller tracks are harder to pass, but like Winter Throwdown, it was a lot harder to pass. It was mainly one line running on the bottom, but a lot of other tracks you can go around the outside bottom, but it's really important to get to start.
I imagine like any other dirt racer, you're studying the racetrack as well. I don't know if you know where your gate number is, but you must be out there looking every now and then like, okay, did it dry up yet? Is the outside gush and the bottom slick? Those kind of things, that has to play in your mind. How often do you get a chance to do that with your dad, just kind of studying as you both learn the craft?
Yeah, we just try to watch all the races and see which line's getting the best launch. And if the bottom's getting the best launch, that's where you're going. If the top's getting the best, and that's where you're going.
Yep.
How many different? Yeah, I imagine it. And you're going to different states. I know I noticed you raced Daytona Bike Week. So Florida, that's a sandy surface. That's a lot of almost gravel, right? So how do you adapt to that to maybe a heavy Midwestern track you're going to this weekend?
Yeah, it was a cushion at first, and then it started to groove up and slick off a little bit. But you just got to pay attention to the track, see how much changes, see how the track changes and stuff.
And Crew Chief Junior, how do you adjust for all those changes?
Like I said, the dirt's it's an animal of its own. We actually were fortunate enough to win the dirt race at Eldora, and I don't even think I knew what I was doing. We went there and kicked their butts. So there's a little bit of dirt knowledge up in there somewhere, and all we're doing is just trying to build a notebook. I could tell them every day is you could go and dominate one day, and the next day come back with the same package and be out to lunch. So that's racing. That's why we love it. That's what makes it so challenging and tough, and that's what he's learning at a young age. And that's what I am just taking pride in, is just teaching him, I don't take pride in spending my own money doing this. I've always spent other guys' money racing, so that's the hardest part. But you know what? I learned to do it the right way. I feel like in my mind I had a lot of good teachers, surround myself with a lot of good people, and that's what we're trying to do. We have very good people around us already at a young age in this flat track world, and we're just going to keep on trying to elevate that.
Junior, when you're heading to Sandusky, Ohio, I imagine the temptation is there to maybe talk to some shock and spring guys, because I'm sure that's still part of a critical element to AMA flat track racing, that you might get a chance to see some cool equipment to test before you go racing this weekend.
Yeah, I think that maybe me and him are trying to do that. We're bringing a lot more of the truck and late model type uses into this world, and I'm very in tune with the shock program there. I still help run it. The guy that actually runs it now used to work for me forever, a good friend of mine. So, and I also, some of the guys that are crew chiefs now, they were truck chiefs for me. So I'd love to see them do well. And I think when we pull the bikes in there, they're going to be excited too. It's a different discipline. There's a good respect, from cars to motorcycles. So it's been nice.
And unfortunately, Jackson, they might see two bikes sitting there going, when's my turn? I imagine you don't want anybody on your bikes, right?
Yeah.
Hey, when we get a chance to follow along, we certainly want to make sure people are more aware of what you're doing. It's awesome you're doing it at this age and traveling literally across the country to race in Mission Foods AMA Flat Track Racing. Where can we find you on socials? Where can we find your races?
On fanschoice.tv, they're gonna have all the races posted on there. So fanchoice.tv, and then
what series is that?
That's for the Corey Texter series.
Okay.
And then my Instagram is jacksonjoyner.26.
And I saw you guys have some other stuff going right now. Is there any other ways we can follow along or perhaps buy some products that you're sponsored by?
Yeah, on Short Track Heroes, we're selling sweaters, T-shirts, and hats.
Tell them again where to go.
On Short Track Heroes.
Yep, shorttrackheroes.com. You can get all your Jackson Joyner hero apparel.
That sounds amazing. Thanks, guys, for your time. Really appreciate you spending time with us, literally traveling across the country to go racing this weekend. We appreciate your time here on the Bullring. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
When we return, we're talking to ASA Platinum driver Ty Fredrickson. He'll be busy on Memorial Day weekend racing twice. On Thursday, May 22nd, the ASA Stars visit Hickory Motor Speedway in the Russell Whitmer 255. Then on Saturday, May 24th, the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour races at Newport, Tennessee in the Food Country USA 300 presented by Appalachian Sucker Punch. More on the way in the Bullring in a moment.
Fire Suppression Solutions, proud sponsor of the ASA Stars National Tour.
Five-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
It's time for the Race of Champions to return to the Bullring, Wyoming County International Speedway, and a day full of short track racing excitement on the speedy third mile. The Race of Champions Sportsman, Race of Champions Superstock Series, and 4-cylinder Dash Series set to do battle at the Bullring. Brought to you by the Race of Champions and the Bullring. Saturday, May 24th, the Bullring, Wyoming County International Speedway, racing at 6 p.m. You can't miss it.
Looking to start a new career path in motorsports or searching for something new in your racing journey? Racer Jobs is your destination for providing the most current job openings from top racing teams, manufacturers, sanctioning bodies, and suppliers. Whether you're a budding race engineer, a seasoned mechanic, or a marketing ace, we consistently refresh our listings with new roles that could meet your ambitions. Looking for a great candidate as an employer? Then tap into our Racer Jobs audience and database to find that perfect candidate. Go to racerjobs.com today.
Here on the Bullring, we like to talk to all sorts of different drivers of all different makes and models. And guess what? We have an ASA Platinum driver with us, 16 years of age. Ty Fredrickson, welcome to the Bullring.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to see you finally got a top 10 this year in the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour. It wasn't the greatest of starts, but man, it's a big challenge, isn't it, to take on the challenge of racing full-time in the ASA Stars National Tour this year. How's it been so far?
Yeah, it's had its ups and downs. I'm glad that we got the strong run at Dominion. I left some on the table there, but hopefully we can have another strong run here at Hickory and Newport. I think we will. We got some pretty good setups that we got in our book ready to go, so it should be pretty good for us.
Got some breaking news. Chase Elliott's going to join us for the Ross and Whitmer 255 at Hickory Motor Speedway. It's going to be kind of cool to see Chase back in his super late model. He's racing the equipment that Jake Garcia's been racing against you, and he's doing pretty well in. How much fun is that for you to get a chance to race against a Cup guy or a driver you've looked up to over the years?
Yeah, it's really awesome to race guys that, I get to watch on Sundays, but it also brings a lot more attention to the super late model ranks. It's just good for short track racing in general. I'm really glad that the guys that race on Sundays, him, Christopher Bell, they come back to super late models. It's really good for short track racing, and it's fun to race against them.
And the relationships are deeper than most people realize. Your father, Dan, has a long-standing relationship with Bon Suss, who's so involved with Donnie Wilson Motorsports, and you guys are competing against their team, but I also see you guys sharing notes and comparing notes. That has to help your learning curve. Who have you relied upon or leaned on this year as you guys make the big jump from basically 2 barrels to 4 barrels and running across the country in the Stars?
Yeah, Bond has been a good help to me and my dad, because he has he's from North Carolina, so Hickory's an hour away from his shop, so they went and tested there. They let my dad know what the track was like, and also I talked to Cole Butcher quite often. He's like a brother to me, and I could always go to him for some advice.
So when it came to you dabbling in super late models, getting the chance to run Richie Waters' car in the All-American 400 a couple years ago already, seems like it was only last week, but it's going so fast for you. When those opportunities come up, are you still getting the same reception now that you're competing every week against these guys?
Yeah, when my first race at Nashville, I was really intimidated by the competition there. But now that I've done it more and more, it's coming less and less down on the anticipation. But, it's just racing like my normal weekly guys at a race in Wisconsin now. I'm just used to all of them. And hopefully we can start knocking off some top fives and maybe get in the win category here later this year.
We got a couple of Bullrings coming up as well when it comes to Hickory Motor Speedway on Thursday, May 22nd for the Ross and Whitmer 255. And now the new news of Saturday's race, going to Newport, Tennessee for the first time for the Food Country USA 300 presented by Appalachian Sucker Punch. They'll be on Track TV. That's a new track as well, but I heard it's kind of a high bank, short track, which I would think maybe has hints of maybe Elko Speedway where you grew up.
Yeah, I think it'll be more like a Slinger Super Speedway, but it's got a little kink on the front stretch. Who knows what that'll be like. Definitely going to be different unloading there on Friday and getting some practice in, but hopefully I can adapt to it pretty quick. I usually can't adapt to tracks pretty quick, but hopefully we can for that race because it's definitely going to be a hard one.
How important is it to get it right before you get there? I know your dad's way involved. Your Uncle David's been part of the program when he has a chance with his family now racing quarter midgets and doing other things. It's kind of neat when I see you guys hard at it, but it's a lot of work, isn't it, to get things ready to get to this level?
Yeah, for sure. And having the rough start like we've had here, it's definitely been a lot harder because we haven't been able to get our car 100% to the best of its abilities because it's been in so many accidents. But we usually unloaded pretty good. We unloaded really fast at Dominion. First time everybody's been there. So Newport should be about the same, only like 2 or 3 people tested. And how you unload is pretty important and crucial for those racetracks where nobody's been to.
Hanging out with 16-year-old Ty Fredrickson, it's pretty cool to have you on this program, but it's also pretty neat to see your progression. I know it's been, 2.5 years since you stepped out of a Legends car and tried your first pro late model laps? I mean, there's a lot that's gone on between then and now. How much of the transition was that? Because I talked to your dad, and he's like, man, he's got something. I trust him. He's good at this stuff. How's that transition been and all the things you've done in the last 12, 14, 16 months?
Yeah, it's been a really different, but, I have my dad who's, one of the best short track racers that's done it. And then I got my buddies, Tristan. He raced late models against me now. So we get to compare how the racetrack is, but my dad gives me a briefing on the racetracks that I've never been to before, like Madison, my first time I've been there. I went fast time and finished 6th in the race. So definitely having my dad in my ear and crew chief in cars has been a big help to me. And having Tristan as a buddy out there on the racetrack is pretty fun too.
Most recently racing in the ASA Midwest Tour opener at Madison. You got some time there as the ASA Stars National Tour is heading back there in June on a Friday night for the Capital 300, sponsored by El Bandito Tequila. I'm wondering if that helped you in the mindset, because I know you were fast. I'm not going to talk about how it ended because it was not of your doing on the hook and all. But in terms of the race itself and the comfortability, how much did that help you think, when you go back there on Friday, June 13th?
Yeah, the most laps you can get at any track will just make you better no matter what. But the 2-barrel to 4-barrel will be a big change there. It's a lot harder on equipment and it's a lot harder to drive. So, but getting an extra few hundred laps there was really nice, and it'll just make me better there for when we go here with the ASA Stars.
And when it comes to racing, I imagine you're busy doing other things, including maybe helping kids at Little Oco, the quarter midget track that you cut your teeth on 4 or 5 years ago. How's that going when you have a chance to check out what the youngsters are doing across the parking lot from the big track?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to go where I started racing. And actually, people don't know this, but I raced William Swalich there a few times back when he was in quarter midgets too. So going back there is really awesome. Seeing all the young kids, they always want to come up and say, how's it going? And they always look for some advice going around that little track. And I'm always willing to give them some help.
Anybody else in the family picking up the cars that you were still in the garage helping? Your sister Harper, anybody getting the itch to go racing?
Harper always has the itch to go racing. We got her a new suit, but she ain't been out in over a year. But we might get her out this year now. Our schedule is a little bit less, but who knows? She's big into baseball and softball right now, and she's pretty hooked into that. So we'll see what she wants to do. But I'm sure if she asked my dad to go racing again, he would let her do that.
And I know your cousins, your brother, your Uncle David's kids are into it now. It's got to be kind of cool seeing what they're doing. How much time do you spend with your cousins? Because I know the primary focus is getting that super late model pretty fast.
Yeah, sometimes Dave come over and helps us work on the cars before the weekend. But I don't see Blake too much, but we always go to his hockey games in the winter, and we get pretty pumped up for that. So, but now that race season is back in full swing, I'll see him on some Sundays at the quarter midget track. But other than that, just when they come over to help on the race car.
Personal aside, watching your mom and your Aunt Nicole watch you race was something special. You won the big race, the Icebreaker 100, a couple years back at the Dells Raceway Park. It was a big money race. It was not an ASA race, but you won that race, and I was in the room with them calling the race on the stream, and I'm thinking, what's going on over there? They're pretty passionate too, aren't they?
Oh yeah, my sister and Nikki are the big cheers. But I remember back when my dad was racing, I'd sit next to my mom in the stands, and she'd literally just have her hands over her eyes. She didn't want to watch it at all. So I assume that's what it is when I'm racing.
It was 100%. Yep, for sure. Hey, when we have a chance to talk to you about the Kawicki Driver Development Program, I take every opportunity. Being a Milwaukee guy, I grew up and I went to the same college as Alan. I went to the same high school as Alan. And I got to know from Ty Majeski's 2015 winning championship of the Kawicki Cup on through, I pay close attention to that. And last year, you got a chance to not only compete, but win the Kawicki Cup. How important is that for you, a Midwestern kid, getting a chance to race and represent Alan Kawicki and his legacy from nearby Wisconsin?
Yeah, it was really awesome. It opened a lot of doors for me, and I'm really grateful that they chose me for the program. And it's also awesome to see some of my buddies from Wisconsin get on it again this year, and they're only ramping it up. I saw today that they had mentors from Hendrick, so it's pretty awesome to see what they're doing, and it's also pretty cool to see some of my buddies on it.
What was that like? I know that there's components to do more work than just on your race car, to get the community involved, to raise money. I know ALS is special to your family and friends that have had issues, and you guys went statewide with it in raising awareness for Lou Gehrig's disease. How much does that kind of play into the idea that racing is about more than just racing for you?
Yeah, once you've been in racing for a while, everyone there just seems to become family, and we did a big thing at Elko Speedway raising money for the ALS Foundation, and we didn't do that just for the program. We did it out of my dad's love for the Ryan family. So I think that's something we're going to continue on doing for years to come.
Yeah, it's pretty cool you get a chance to do that. And when it comes to racing and representing things, you've got a race car and you've got sponsors, you've got people and obligations. How does that fit into your daily routine, knowing that there's 12 ASA Stars races and you want to race probably as much as you can?
Yeah, me and my dad are super big into our sponsors and getting new sponsors and maintaining the ones we have. Yeah, we just stay hard at it, make them feel like family, and it works out pretty good for us.
With your dad as involved as he is, and he gave you some old used up equipment that you did pretty well as a Pro Late model in the Super, running top 5 in the Oktoberfest 200. I remember that was a big deal. When it comes to those opportunities, how much are you getting more involved? How much are you getting more ingrained, Ty, and learning what the car can do or what you want in a change between practice runs?
Yeah, in my 12, 18 months of racing, I've raced a bunch of different cars. We got this old 2009 car that I won a bunch in at Golden Sand Speedway. And we got new Fury cars that we won a bunch at Lacrosse. And I got a few different ones that I've been racing, and they're all pretty fast. It's pretty cool to see what that old equipment can do.
How much are you involved in making those changes? And how much is it, you just have to get the mindset? Because I know you had a motor issue at Madison that was like, oh my goodness, we don't have a lot of time to fix it, but you guys got it done.
Yeah, luckily we had a spare engine in the hauler that we were able to get a rocker out and put it in. So, but yeah, like you said, just especially when we go test, because we have more time to break it down. And my dad tells me what he changed, and I usually have a notebook. I just write in a little notebook what he changed, what I felt like, what it changed on the car, how it felt better, and it's a pretty cool deal.
As an ASA Stars Platinum driver, Ty Fredrickson, I'm asking about this because it's cool to know you're going to come to every race, and I get to call those races on Track TV. But more importantly, you're racing against the best of the best in the 12 or 14, whatever it is, when it comes to the Platinum program. That's got to be kind of encouraging, or is it discouraging at times, knowing how good these guys are and how good you have to be to play at that level?
Yeah, it's a big thing for me because I want to be the best at the best at whatever I'm doing. So I just, the 12 guys are in there, are the best 12 in the country. So you're always at it to beat them and be better than them. But it hasn't gone super well so far, but we'll get our tracks moving, and we'll be pretty good at the end of the season here.
And when it comes to track time, I believe you get a practice day on both occasions when it comes to the next two Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars races. That's going to be huge too, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. It gives us more time to get our car dialed in, and usually some other people tested, so they have a little bit of advantage. But we'll just have to work harder than them on those practice days to get our car better. And I think we will, because we're a pretty good crew we got here. But I think we'll be pretty good for the race days.
And I'm going to tell you one thing, Ty. I don't think you guys own lawn chairs. I don't think you guys own chairs, because you're always working on the race car. It's either you're in the hauler sitting down for a bologna sandwich in the hauler, or you're on the race car underneath it or something. I mean, it's kind of inspiring to me, I think, in a way. But I imagine it's probably something you don't know any way other how to do it, because that's what you guys do. It's kind of cool to see you guys work that hard together as a family. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, ever since I was growing up in the pits helping my dad, I don't think we've ever had a single lawn chair in our hauler, not a single time. But we got the hauler now, so my family can come along to the races and make lunch. So it takes us out of sitting down, because they always have the food ready and they have it on the hauler after practice, and we just go take a quick bite and get ready for the next one.
I'm glad you mentioned the hauler, because there's a guy named Scott Bloomquist who's a pretty bad to the bone racer that you guys ended up buying the hauler that Scott had. How much goes with that? I know when Scott passed away, your dad put a big zero on the car, the Yin Yang zero on your race car to pay tribute. It's kind of neat. You guys had that lineage in a way, owning some equipment that Scott raced across the country with.
Yeah, it was super awesome to have something that Scott had, and my dad actually spent like a day with him, and he said Scott was one of the most coolest people he's ever met, and it was pretty awesome. And another nice thing about the hauler is last year I think we slept 80 times in that thing in between races, so it definitely helps us out quite a bit.
So your dad got to meet some cool people. Who are some of the cool people you've gotten to meet so far when it comes to racing, whether you're racing against them or happen to see them at the racetrack?
Yeah, old racing legends, current cup drivers. It's super awesome what the Stars does, because it just attracts all the big names, and they all come out to the races. Now we're going to Hickory, where most of them live near, so we'll probably see some more cool ones.
And you might want to keep an eye on Cole Butcher's line. He's got something cooking there. He's got a really fast race car at Hickory. Hey, Ty Fredrickson.
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, Cole's pretty good. He puts in a lot of work. I've seen him training at the TPC. He definitely doesn't lack effort. So I usually just try to get similar to what he's doing and try to get better in some spots.
It's a steep learning curve for some, but you are on the dance floor. You're racing as an ASA Platinum driver in the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour, and I'm telling you, it's been fun to watch, and I'm going to encourage folks to make sure they keep an eye on Ty Fredrickson in that 36 car when it comes to any track you get to race on, because you guys attack it, and you're doing extremely well, even at this young age, and I just want to thank you for coming on the show, and want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing and kick some butt, man.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Ty Fredrickson, for joining us here on the Bullring today. Let's remind you again, the next two stops on the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour are at Hickory Motor Speedway, North Carolina on Thursday night, May 22nd for the Ross and Whitmer 255. Then traveling to Tennessee on Saturday, May 24th for the ASA Stars race, the Food Country USA 300 presented by Appalachian Sucker Punch. Hey, thanks for joining us on this edition of the Bullring. We had a lot of fun bringing us some racing highlights and talking to some really cool people when it comes to short track racing. I'm Jim Tretow. I'll catch you at a Bullring real soon. The Bullring is produced and hosted by Jim Tretow. Producer Kurt Schrader. Video editor Vincent Villarreal. Special thanks Bob Sargent and Marty Mello Track Enterprises. Colin Smith with Racing America and Tony Stevens. The Bullring is an exclusive presentation produced by Track Enterprises in conjunction with Racing America.